Hello and welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now we need to talk about sports bikes because I think most Brits at least have realised that sports bikes are just uncomfortable on the road. They're kind of too powerful, they're just a bit silly and too extreme, which is why one buys naked bikes and adventure bikes these days. But you can't deny the riding position of a supersport bike gives you a connection that no other type of bike can to that front axle. It makes you feel like a god, albeit one with a slightly gammy back. So anyway, manufacturers have started to produce lower power sports bikes that are more appropriate for the road. We've had the Aprilia RS660 and now this, the Yamaha R7. So I'm going to take you for a walk around, do a review, ride it on the road and really badly on track and see if this is a medium-sized sports bike for real people, normal people like me who aren't gods but want to enjoy that kind of racy riding position. Anyway, let's get cracking. Here it is then, the new R7, and yes, I know there will be old men in the comments saying, that's not a real R7 because it's not got, oh god, I'm bored already. Anyway, this is an R7. You can't actually buy the R6 anymore unless you want a race version because you can't get it homologated for Euro 5, blah, blah, blah. It is its own thing, and it is obviously loosely based on the MT-07. It's got the same frame, albeit with some stiffening there for extra feel between your legs, and it's got a steeper steering angle, it's got shorter wheelbase, it's just a bit more racy. It's got upside down forks obviously, which the MT-07 doesn't have, and radial brakes with a Brembo radial master cylinder as well. So Yamaha has sprinkled it with a few bits just to give it more of a racy setup and to make it apparently a viable bike on track. I've not ridden it on track yet. So yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. You've also got a new subframe compared to the MT-07, and the whole frame for this bike only weighs 15 kilos and the whole bike's 188 kilos ready to rock, so it's pretty light. Seat height is 835mm, which I think is 15mm higher than the RS660, so it's reasonably tall. It's not massive. I think most people over 5'5" will be absolutely fine on this. Now let's talk about the engine. It's a 689cc cross-plane parallel twin with 67 Nm of torque, 73 horsepower, but this now has, unlike the MT-07, a slip and assist clutch, which we'll talk about in the road ride. It's down geared, it's got 42 teeth rear sprocket, not 43 teeth like on the MT-07, and it's got a new ECU which is programmed for a quick shifter. It's an accessory one, it's 130 quid I think, and it's up only, but you can't get that at all on the MT-07. So again, that kind of shows how Yamaha does want this bike to be used on racetracks. Now Yamaha stuck some decent tyres on the R7. It comes on Bridgestone S22s, and we've been riding pretty quickly on the road, and they have been absolutely wonderful. Obviously it's been bone dry because it's Spain, and it's so sweaty everything has stuck to me inside and out, which you probably didn't need to know. We're about to ride it on track on Bridgestone R11, so I'll report back on those. Right, let's look at the dash. It's a pretty straightforward dash. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I might have to stick a cutaway in. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but the dash is dead simple. It's much like the MT-07, just different shape. You've got the white on black with a little bit of red up at the red line. You've got a gear indicator, and that's pretty much it. And you can use the switch on the left-hand switch gear to flip between temperature, fuel consumption, average fuel consumption, range, blah, blah, blah. Now in terms of electronics, it's pretty straightforward. It's got ABS. That's it. No, it doesn't come with traction control, but to be honest, bit of a spoiler, I don't think it really needs it. Although on the Aprilia obviously you do get it, but that has got a fair bit more power than this. Anyway, that's probably enough of a walk around. I'm not sure how you feel about this fakey, not quite machined yoke, and there are a few other bits which do belie its price, £8,200. The side stand bolts also probably suggest that this is an affordable bike rather than a ridiculously fancy premium ones, and some of these plastics are already getting scratched quite easily. And the switch gear isn't very sexy, but I do like the look with this central LED headlight. I don't think that's actually an air intake, unlike on the R6, but it's a cool looking thing. I quite like it in black with these blue stickers down here, that kind of electric blue look. You can also get this in blue, and if you want that fancy white and red 60th anniversary paint scheme, that takes the price to That takes the price to £8,500 and you get gold wheels as well. Anyway, that's probably enough waffle of me walking around the new R7. Let's cut to the road ride, and after that we'll take it on track and see how slow I can be. And the answer is going to be very, very slow compared to all the other journalists here, but hey, that's why I'm here, to be the average person, very bored person.
Right, we're on the road now on the new Yamaha R7, and the very first thing you'll notice when you get on this bike is that despite being a super sport bike that is biased towards road riding, really, the riding position is pretty much as extreme as sports bike gets. The pegs are high, your hands are low, it feels like you're reaching down into the fairing with your gloves to get to the clip-ons. So yeah, but that said, I'm 6'3", and I've not been uncomfortable. I've been riding for about an hour and a half. Around town it does get a bit risky, but what do you expect? It's a sports bike, and that's kind of why you buy it, for the confidence inspiring feel you get from a sports bike riding position, because all your weight is over the front. So yeah, initial impressions are, don't go thinking that because this is a medium strength super sport bike it's going to be like a sofa. It is not, and I can tell you for a fact the Aprilia RS 660 is more comfortable than this. So yeah, you want to be wearing leathers, or at least something that you can use to grip onto the tank with your knees, because you need to, frankly. Let's talk about the engine. It's only got 73 horsepower, but it's got a really nice usable spread of torque. Basically feels like the MT-07. It is slightly longer gearing because of a sprocket difference to the MT-07, but you're never left wanting for power. You don't really have to dance on the gearbox for overtakes and things like that. It does just go and picks up speed pretty well. It's not going to take your face off, but that's half the joy of it. People will whinge that this doesn't have traction control. It does have ABS, but honestly, I don't think you really need traction control on a bike, not because of the amount of power it's got, but because the way it delivers the power. It is very linear and very gentle and just very predictable, so you're not going to get any snatchiness out of tight corners. The fueling is really good. Yamaha has developed this CP2 engine to the nth degree, and that really shows in this. It's just very easy to use, very, I don't know, very unintimidating, I guess is the best way to put it. It doesn't feel like it's about to strap you to a table and put spoons in your genitals. It's just a friendly, cuddly bear that gives you power where you need it on the road. The other thing that has surprised me about this bike, given Yamaha's slight reputation for brakes that aren't the best, is that the front brakes are really good, and so is the back brake. The brakes are perfectly good for the road. You can two-finger it and stop pretty damn quickly. They're strong enough. They've got decent feel. You can trail them into corners like this. And this is where you start to feel the benefit over the MT-07 of the fact this has got a slip and assist clutch, which not only makes the clutch feel really light, it's also a slipper clutch obviously, so you can bang it down the gears into corners without getting a chirp from the back wheel, which was one thing that slightly got in the way of having fun on the MT-07. Right, now on some twisties we can talk about the handling, and the handling is pretty damn good. It's on Bridgestone S22s, they're super confidence inspiring, and it's just very flickable. Yamaha has focused on making this a road bike that is not intimidating to ride, and to ride it reasonably quickly. It's just nice, it's just pleasant. You don't need much bar pressure to get it turned. It holds the line really nicely, and because of the linear torque of that motor, you can just get on the gas nice and early out the corner. Concentrating. Now the other thing to point out is the tank is narrow, but they've designed it to have loads to hang on to with your knees, so you always feel like you can secure yourself under braking nicely, and also mid-corner as well, you can lock that thigh into the tank. Right, let's talk about the R7 suspension. Also, big difference from the MT-07 is that you've got upside down, mostly adjustable forks on this, and the front end is pretty good. I've got a decent amount of confidence on it on the road. The suspension overall, it's firm-ish, but it's not like outright sports bike firm. It's comfortable for long days, I would say. I've not been getting any jiggly butt cracks or anything like that. The moves haven't been wobbling about. It's actually reasonably compliant. That said, we have been on mostly billiard table smooth Spanish roads. It seems like they have struck a bit of a balance, but it feels supportive, it feels compliant, it feels like it's your friend, which is the main thing about this bike, isn't it? It's simply going to give noobs like me confidence on the road, and we'll see about the track in a bit. Right, I've done some wobbling about on the road, and in conclusion, as far as I can tell, the R7 is a perfectly decent middleweight sports bike for the road. The suspension is pretty compliant, the brakes are good, the engine's got a perfect spread of power for overtaking, for gassing out of corners without worrying too much about your gears, and it's just a joy to flick around. It is very flickable, and that slipper clutch is actually quite useful on some of these roads. So yeah, no real vices, it is very friendly. I would say the sound is a little bit humdrum, a little bit muted. The Aprilia does sound a lot more interesting, and some people will whinge that it hasn't got traction control, but on the road I've certainly not felt the need for it. So yeah, it feels like a very complete package. It is very pleasant to ride. I would say the Aprilia feels more exotic. In conclusion then, on the road, very nice road bike if you like the sporty riding position on the road. Loads of confidence, decent tyres, and this feels very good and reassuring. We're going to go to a track now, and I am going to wobble around, and you can laugh at my lack of track experience and ability, but that's sort of why I'm here, to be honest, because Yamaha wants to show that this bike isn't terrifying for people that want to do their first track days, and I'm certainly going to be bricking it, sharing a track with very, very experienced and fast motorbike journalists, so this could be entertaining. I'll see you there. Am I rolling?
Oh yeah, baby.
Right, let's go and ride the Yamaha R7 on the Circuit de Andalucía, I think it's called. It's basically, you go to Almeria and it's the track next to it, and it's an interesting track. It's quite fiddly, twisty, turny, uppy, downy, and I'm just going to caveat this with I've only done like 3 or 4 track days in my life. I'm not very fast, so yeah, we'll see how we go. So this bike has a quick shifter on it, and I think that is it. I should have a brake lever card, but I don't, but there we go. What a beautiful day to ride on a racetrack though. It's about 30 degrees. I've got sticky tyres on, and I'm probably going to get cramp in my bum, but you know, this is what it feels like to ride quite a challenging track on a Yamaha R7 as an novice. What I found about this bike is it is hugely confidence inspiring and a lot sportier than I was imagining in terms of just the riding position, but also the level of confidence that it gives you. I'm no hero, but yeah, I feel a bit like one. Had my knee down, squared that off, missed the apex. This is how you do it, people. Over this crest, in here, run it wide, quick shifter. Haven't got a blipper, so I hope to my own downshifts. But that slipper clutch is very, very helpful. This one's a bit fiddly, gets all hairpinny here. Oh yeah, I'm slow around there. I'm slow everywhere, let's be honest. Even with the slipper clutch I managed to get the back step out a bit there. Right, he's not videoing me because I'm too slow. Up here, second gear. Right, I keep forgetting there's no down blipper. Oh. I don't know if that's still rolling, but that made me feel like a fucking hero, and I'm not. Wow, so confidence inspiring. Just that front end, you can feel what it's doing, so you can judge how much grip you've got. Trail braking, I can't believe I'm saying those words because they're not usually in my vocabulary, but anyway, Right, so I've come to the end of my day with the Yamaha R7, rid it on road, on track, and to be honest, I've had a whale of a time on track here at whatever the circuit is called. I'm a track novice. I've done California Superbike School levels 1 and 2, but not many track days. I don't get out very often, to be honest. And it's given me the confidence to get both my knees down, to have a whale of a time, and just feel like I can sense what the bike is doing. I can sense what the front end is doing. I can feel how much grip I've got and how much braver I can be. And speaking to more experienced journalists here, they've all had a brilliant time as well. So it seems like Yamaha has created a very, very good track bike. Not even first track bike, just a good track bike. Now on the road, obviously it's still uncomfortable. The engine, I think, on the road isn't the most exciting thing, doesn't sound that exciting, but if you want a sports bike for the road without breaking the speed limits, it is a bloody good choice. Just be aware that it is a, you know, sports bike riding position, so you're going to get hernia. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Hope this hasn't been the most boring thing you've seen today. Like, comment, subscribe, call me a bald, sweaty twat in the comments, and we'll see if YouTube automatically deletes it. Yeah, goodbye.